What's up, guys? I'm Fenyo. This is the Early Playing Podcast. Welcome to a new episode. We're going to talk about the UFC. We had a pretty good event last Saturday. Sadly, I make this like a short episode. I'm very busy at the moment, but I didn't want to skip a week with the pod. So why don't we get right into it? We have a few fight announcements, and we'll be previewing Dolidze versus Fluffy, which is this week event. So we have UFC Fight Night, Taira versus Park. No, no secret that I was very high on Park, but I wasn't like quite picking him to win the fight. I thought that he brought some interesting stuff to the table, especially in the sense that he's also like a backtake specialist. Obviously, not at the level of Tyra that showed in the fight, and also because he's like a slick striker that likes to pressure and push people back. And Tyra has shown vulnerabilities on the back foot, but eh, Tyra Taira hurt him very early in first round and was able to take him, kept the fight on the ground for the whole round. Then second round, again, very easy takedown, was able to get the top with a face crank. Taira looked very solid here, very quick with the 1-2s. I mean, he has always looked like kind of clean. Open range. The problem is when he's forced to like defense in place, when he cannot use his like explosive in and out movement. For Park, I don't take a lot of out of this, like, and not to make excuses for Park. Like, I think like if anything, the fight showed that Tyra is the better fighter of the two at this moment, right? So not saying that Park could have won on another any other night, but at the same time you gotta consider like he took the fight against Steve Erceg on very short notice. I think like he had like 3 weeks for the camp, and then before the 3 weeks, on 2 weeks, he took with only a week's notice this fight against Taira. So he took the chance, didn't pan out. He'll come back better after this, but it is what it is. Good for Taira, man. What's next for Taira? Maybe Kai Kara France or Brandon Moreno. That's the two that I would like. But yeah, I mean, cool for Taira, man. Taira is a beast, man. He's a beast. One of the most exciting young prospects. Just happens to be in the same division as Joshua Ban, right? Our co-main event saw Chris Duncan against Mateusz Rambetsky. Uh, completely violent, a completely violent fight, like insane shit. Rambetsky, you know how he is. He's a stocky southpaw. He pressures forward, and Duncan came well prepared to deal with that style. Duncan just using a lot of like the straight rights, clean straight rights, and body kicks and high kicks from the rear side to make Rambetsky like close the distance. And when Rambetsky was trying to close the distance, Duncan was ready with the knees and the elbows from the rear side as well. So excellent pairing of attacks. The grappling situations, Duncan was able to use his very trustworthy guillotine to reverse position. Um, Rambetsky still was a dog, man. Like insane dude, man. Because like his eye was completely fucked from from the second round onwards. He still kept pushing. He was running into strikes, big and like one thing is running into punches, another thing is like running into elbows and knees. Um, but then it was brutal, but it was a very good fight. Like Duncan at times he was taking like some breaks and Rambetsky was pressuring harder and Duncan started to look a bit sketchy. Duncan also like standing combinations longer than his comfort zone at stages and giving Rambetsky a chance, but overall like very good performance from Chris Duncan. Hey, uh Thiago Alves, Mike Brown on your corner, kind of underrated, man. People sleep on that. Like Duncan has been putting on the hour. Interesting thing too is that both these guys are American top team guys. But Duncan trains like in the part that I like better with like Dustin Porter, with Thiago Alves, Mike Brown. I'm not sure what's quite the situation with Rambetsky at ATT, but hey, it was a banger of the fight. Before that, we had the other fight of the night because they awarded two fight of the nights. Yes, and we had the Stevan Ribovics against Elvis Brenner. I was kind of worried about Brenner because he has been looking like quite off, but he showed up like in very good shape here. Not talking about how he looks physically, but how he was moving inside the cage. I felt like Brenner looked fast, looked very durable here. He was working with some good ideas, especially early. Rivovix was having trouble, but Rivovix is a lot tighter mechanically, and he has like some good habits, especially in countering in combination. So Rivovix was showing off the hands early, and Brenner then started like troubling him with the jab from the second round on. But then on the third round, Rivas starts going southpaw, start finding his own jab, and he finally lets go with the combinations to the body. Just a fantastic fight, man. I love this one. Like Duncan versus Rambetsky was probably more violent, but this one was like close in balance and more interesting technically. I felt. Uh, yeah, Rivas is so much fun, man. It's one of the most exciting fighters in the whole UFC. What's the ceiling for Rivas? I'm not quite sure. He looks to be very athletic, insanely durable, good cardio, so he might be like he might get far, man. I don't know. For Brenner, I'm very happy that Brenner got to look good here because he was looking kind of concerning, especially in the Orobay fight, in the Alvarez fight. Alvarez a pretty bad matchup to be quite honest, but still I don't think he looked like as fast as durable. He looked more sketchy in those. Here he looked more composed, more smarter, and just like physically better, like faster, more durable. So I'm very happy about that. This fight was supposed to happen in like 3 years ago, I think, and it finally happened now, and it was just fucking great, man. Caro Hosa versus Nora Cornell. They had a cool first round. Caro Hosa like used to having like a big advantage on the clinch, and Cornell was bringing it to her. Caro Hosa like the better boxer of the two, but Cornell was like kicking fast. He was being like wild on the feet. And then in the clinch, she was going hard. But then Caro Hosa from the second round finding takedowns, and she was mean from top position. That second round was brutal, man. She was beating the shit out of Nora Cornell, man. And that third round, she also got the takedown. And good for Caro Hosa. I feel like she's always been very good, but she's kind of inconsistent inside the cage. Some sketchy decisions, and she's fighting meaner, like looking for more damage now. She says that that's like thanks to her girlfriend, who is oh man, I don't remember the name of the girl, but very violent strawweight. So so yeah, good for Caro Hosa. I've always been kind of a fan, and maybe this was not like the striking performance that I like to see from her, but if she's going to be like this on the ground, I'm all for it, man. Neil Magny fought Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos, Capoeira here. Dos Santos just a mess in this fight. Just like not kicking the legs as often as he should, just swinging super wild, closing into clinches, then working very, very hard for takedowns. Working insanely hard for takedowns, and when he finally got a takedown second round, he didn't have much for Magny from top position, man. Like, yeah, Magny has been submitted by some very good guys, but it's not like you take down Magny and he doesn't have anything for you, man. Magny has the cardio, man. Like these were unks, but Magny the kind of funk that doesn't get tired, man. Um, so yeah, Zaleski got the takedown, didn't do much damage, got back to his feet. Magny got the takedown, got to the back, just found him out. So good for Magny, man. Zaleski looked very good at one moment, but he was fighting like a killer's row of like unranked fighters. And now he looks like out of his prime, probably less motivated right now. The game planning has been very rough. I was joking on Twitter that Zaleski like give him Phil Rowe now because like he already lost to all the like 6'3" black guys in the divisions. Yeah, um he already lost to Magny and to Shidi. Has to lose lost to Kevin Holland, right? So maybe like give him Kevin Holland and then Phil Rowe. I don't know. Kevin Vallejos for Danny Silva. This was my like most anticipated fight other than the main event here. And Rivovic versus Brenner, which I knew was going to be a banger, but I was very excited to see Vallejos fight in action, especially against someone like Silva, who is a very good striker in his own right. And the fight delivered for sure. Silva in completely like Bobby Green mode, like more Bobby Green, Shane Burgos mode, like more worried about like letting Kevin Vallejos know that he's not landing clean more than landing offensive his own. And Silva had a few good like ideas, especially on the first round, like punishing the linear retreats of Vallejos with knees and that kind of stuff. But then, like, I don't know if he started like feeling the power, so he like focused more on defense. But still a lot of like active, like high elbow guarding, shoulder rolling, and he was doing a good job of avoiding most of the big strikes from Vallejos. But Vallejos just kept the composure, missing the jab for a lot of this fight. But then he started like going to the body, especially going to the body with the right hand start instead of like risking himself, like leaving into range with the big left hook. And very good footwork for Vallejos. Vallejos a monster physically too, very strong. Because Danny Silva is a big featherweight and he was able to get some takedowns and wasn't able to do much with them. Two things that I like a lot from Vallejos because Vallejos you can clearly see that he's like cosplaying Ilia Topuria with his boxing style. It's not that he's a boxer; it's that he's a boxer in a very similar vein, especially the way that he likes to sometimes like just like put his weight back and transfers that weight forwards with the big right hand, beautiful straight right hand. And the combinations are very Topuria-esque too. But two things that Vallejos has that Topuria could afford to have is that Vallejos was like looking for a lot of elbows and he was looking for head kicks, especially because he knew that Danny Silva was looking for like head movement and that kind of stuff. So to keep him honest, he was looking for those head kicks. And when Silva was like trying to like rely a lot on his dynamic like high guard, Vallejos was trying to close the distance with the big elbows. So I love that. This was a very very good fight. Very funny that Vallejos like told Ribovics after the fight, please don't take the fight of the night away from me because this was like for sure fight of the night. And Ribovics was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can promise you that. And then we had Rambetsky versus Duncan. So, but yeah, good for Vallejos and good for Danny Silva. It was a very good fight. Rinja Nakamura is back, finished the fight very quick with a body kick with the toes. You know, every Japanese guy, even if you're an international wrestler, you have a little bit of karate inside of you, and that was Rinja Nakamura, right? Uh, Rodolfo Vieira fought Tristan Gore, and this was the debut of Sugar Ray Dolfo Vieira because like Vieira was not able to get takedowns on Gore. Gore very athletic and was defending very well. Uh, but Vieira just working him with the jab, and you could see like the confidence of Vieira like growing from round to round. And then on the third round, he was like still mixing in the takedowns, but he was very comfortable on the feet and just winning the striking bout. A very nice jab, then mixing in the 1-2s, a few uppercuts, a few left hooks here and there. Uh, Going head and body with the 1-2s, which is something that I loved. I felt like Vieira looked very good. Still a bit stiff defensively wise, but with the grappling threat and a very good jab, I feel like Vieira I think he's working with fighting nerds now, which like okay. I mean, Vieira has always been very solid on the feet, like not good but solid, like well put together, was cool. And I feel like he's finally like putting the good teachings together into something that is a very more coherent game. Wish that he had more connective tissue between the striking and the wrestling, but because he's a solid wrestler, there's some problems with the entries especially. But yeah, I mean, Vieira looked very good. Good cardio, was composed, landing the jab. Good for him, man. Andrei Pulyev for Nick Klein. Nick Klein came out like a house on fire here, getting takedowns, being aggressive inside the clinch, but he started like getting a bit tired after like running through that. Like, you know, that like Raul Rosas, Hamza Chimaev style, like that sprinting out of the gate with grappling, that can be a two-edged sword, man. And he showed here and Pulaev like nasty body kick, like he stepped into that shit. Like Pulaev a southpaw by the way, so he landed to the liver side and then follow up with strikes, just like oh man, satanic kick right there by Pulaev, man. It was nasty. Before that, Austin Bashi back in action since losing to C-Rod, we are seeing this week in action. He fought debutant John Janis. Yeah, Janis, a striker with big power. I'm not very familiar with him, but Bachi just all over him, man. Just a monster, man. Bachi like quick, strong, and very good grappler. It's fun, man. Very promising guy. Before that, we have Rafael Estevam against Felipe Bunes. Estevam just missed weight like big time, and he said on an interview like I just focus on training camp instead of making weight because it was like too short notice, which like appreciate the honesty, man. But yeah, Buddha's here look kind of sketchy, but it was a solid fight. Stevam is solid, man. Brian Wagner was saying like he's a giant version of Formiga that doesn't make weight. Like yeah, kind of. And the opener, Piera Rodriguez against Ketlin Sosa. Shout out to my boy Pliskin because we showed up to watch the fights and we get these like women's MMA bangers, and this one was solid, man. Sosa cannot defend a takedown to save her life, but her jiu-jitsu is sleek, especially the way like she inverts to the legs and gets up or use like butterflies and that kind of stuff. Like very good stuff to get back up. Pira was doing very good job inside the clinch, punishing because Sosa is a big puncher. She punches very hard. She's accurate. She's dangerous, but she collapses the distance way too much. And Pierre Rodriguez was ready to find like double collar ties and go to town with knees to the body. Damage was very very close in rounds 2 and 3. I felt like Sosa won, but I don't think this was a robbery. It was very very close. It was a very solid fight. Excited for both girls moving forwards. That was the event. If you haven't seen the event, like just go watch Duncan versus Rambetsky, Ribovics versus Brenner, and Vallejos versus Silva because those were like three like top quality fights in a single event. Fantastic stuff about that. Let's get quickly into some fight announcements here. Um, wait. Oh, I didn't. I didn't change the pictures, man. Okay, let me. I'm sorry for those that are listening to the podcast version, but I have here the slideshow for the video version, and I did not update that. Actually, I'm going to leave this here. Okay, sorry for the dead for the dead time here. Okay, so we were talking about before moving on into the fight announcements, remember that we have a new store on Fourth Wall, so you can get your merch. The pivots don't work in MMA. Body punching crew. We have a new design. It's fucking fight week. You can get that too. We have a new Stitch version of the body punching crew that is very nice. So go get that. Um, Links in the description. Go get your new merch. It's looking good and you'll get it quick, man. So if you want to support the channel, you can get a piece of merch. Let's get into some fight announcements. Abus Magomedov will be fighting Joe Pyfer at UFC 320 on October. Probably this is them trying to get Joe Pyfer into the rankings. Abus can maybe be bad for him. Long striker, he can grapple very well, but Joe Pyfer is a solid grappler. I feel like I gotta go with Joe Pyfer here, but we'll see because I had to do a tape study for this one because it's a pay per view. What else we have? Farid Basharat is fighting my boy Chris Gutierrez. Uh, Scared about this. Guti was supposed to fight Javid, I think, some time ago. Now he's getting Farid. A bad matchup for Guti. I love Guti, but I don't like this one. Man. I don't like this one for him. He might be able to kick his legs off, but the Basharats are good wrestlers, man. That's the thing. And Guti is like way too comfortable playing jiu-jitsu off his back. Like he has good jiu-jitsu, but it's like not the kind of jiu-jitsu that you want to have when you're like a volume striker. So yeah. What else we have? This one is a banger, man. Tom Nolan is fighting Evan Elder. So Tom Nolan very long, lanky, and very dangerous, and Evan Elder is a beast, man. So rooting for my boy Evan here, but it's a very good fight, man. It's a solid fight. I like it. What else do we have? Irina Alexieva is fighting Via Mesquita. The only reason that I'm mentioning this is for my boy Lucas because he's always asking where's Russian Ronda. Here is Russian Ronda, man. So thank you. You gotta thank me for that one, man. The big one here this week is that Benoit Saint Denis is fighting Mauricio Hufi. This is going on at UFC Paris on September. Um, big fight, man. And not a main event. Oh, because the main event is Imavov versus Kayo, right? But yeah, this one is big, man. We'll see if Hufi. We'll see the takedown defense of Hufi tested here most likely. Because if he gets taken down, like Benoit Sandin is probably going to like beat his ass. I mean, I know Hufi comes from a very good grappling camp in fighting nerds, but don't really trust him there. Open stance also is like the ideal scenario for Benoit Saint Denis because he relies a lot on having that open side body kick to make his game work. But if Hufi can like maintain distance with his own kicks and strike him at range, like he's probably going to kill Benoit Saint Denis. But that's a fun like two outcome fight, right? What else we have? We have David Martinez against Carlos Vera from Ecuador. Mexico versus Ecuador here. This has been added at Noche UFC on September. Mentioning this because Carlos Vera, he doesn't know it, but he's a friend of the pod because he got a gift. Pivots don't work in MMA, so go grab your T-shirt to be cool like UFC fighter Carlos Vera. Now Carlos Vera is coming off that fantastic submission after a head kick. Um, in his last fight, he has like this karate like kind of style. He has trained a lot with Ryan Hall, and David Martinez is also a karate guy. So we have an interesting matchup. Obviously, Martinez probably like the more athletic guy on the feet, but Carlos Vera is a wizard on the ground. So very interesting fight actually. And we have Carlos Ulberg against Dominic Reyes. This is going on at UFC Perth all September. So if Reyes wins here, probably a title shot. If Ulberg wins, probably a title shot too. So we might consider this a title eliminator. Interesting to see how current version of Dominic Reyes looks against a guy that is not going to leap into range. This has the chance to get like boring if both guys are waiting for the other one to just leap into range into counters because both guys kind of like the same shit, right? Just from different stances. Like Carlos Ulberg is waiting for that like check hook, and Dominic Reyes is waiting for that like fade away straight left hand from Southpaw. So we'll see who does what, and if they have like a kicking fight at range, who's going to be more active, more successful with that. It's an interesting fight to be honest. Like Dominic Reyes has been looking good, but also like against a lesser level of opposition, I feel like Carlos Silver a lot better than Nikita Krylov, for example. So we'll see about that. And that brings us to this weekend's event. We have UFC Fight Night, Dolidze versus Hernandez. This is going on at the Apex, but it's like earlier time than usual. I don't know why. But let's get into the card. So Roman Dolidze against Fluffy. Um, the potential for very cool scrambles here because like Dolidze is a very good grappler and you know about Fluffy. Like he funny because someone posted a screenshot of a guy like you gotta remember Dolidze is an ADCC level grappler so he can submit Hernandez. Like Dolidze is a very good grappler, don't get me wrong. I think he was like a European champion on the ADCC. He can qualify for the real thing. He got submitted on the first round when the only time that he went to ADCC, man. Uh, if you guys don't remember, Anthony Hernandez submitted Rodolfo Vieira, who we talked about earlier, and he's like a million times ADCC winner. No, I'm not sure, but I think he has won it more than one time. And obviously, like one of the most decorated like jiu-jitsu guys that we've seen in the UFC in recent memory. But yeah, man, Dolidze is very dangerous. The thing. Dolidze is big, man, and he's powerful. Uh, Fluffy can be a bit of a slow starter, so Dolidze is probably going to be dangerous early. If they go to the ground, I feel like Fluffy will be fine as long as he keeps top position. But Fluffy has been like, Fluffy takes some risk, man. I was rewatching that second fight with Arnold Allen, with Brendan Allen. Fenyo, stop calling Brendan Allen Arnold Allen challenge. Difficult, impossible. Okay, but and he goes for some risky back takes at times, and he can end up on bottom position. Dolidze is nasty, man. But the thing is that Dolidze is nastier from the bottom. I feel like the Dolidze is good from top position, but he's like regular MMA good. But from the bottom, he pulls up some insane stuff here and there. So I feel like Fluffy wants to be careful with his legs here. Probably wants to smash Dolidze against the fence and get the takedowns there to like deny a lot of like the hip mobility and get and denied a lot of the scrambling to the legs, just put his head against the fence and go crazy with elbows. I feel like if Dolidze starts to tire, Fluffy can win this one on the feet too. Fluffy way better as a striker when he gets going. But Dolidze is still a bigger puncher, and Dolidze has shown a decent cardio and ability to fight tired too. So it's a very interesting main event. Uh, and I say that despite Dolidze coming from like the worst fight of all time against Marvin Vettori, but Vettori already had his redemption against Brendan Allen, right? So we'll see if Dolidze has his own redemption here. Obviously, here I'm rooting for my boy Fluffy here, one of my favorites. The co-main event is Steve Erceg against Ode Osborne. When Ode had a good performance last time, right? Oh, he fought Luis Gurule, yeah, and he kind of beat his shit, right? But yeah, Ersak, we'll see if he's able to bounce back here, man. Because like he had it rough. Like he had that very close fight against Pantoja, and then he got like killed by Kaikara France. And then he got like outdogged by Brandon Moreno in certain ways. It was a close fight, but yeah, like very low output, and we'll see if Ode Osborne, if Ode has something, is that he's a puncher, man. So if Ersak kinda Shinny kinda like doubting himself, this could be a very dangerous fight for him. Yasmin Lucindo is fighting Angela Hill. Very good fight. Kind of rough matchmaking for Angela Hill. I feel like the UFC is always trying to make her lose. but but yeah, it's a very solid fight. I feel like it's kind of winnable for Hill. She just gotta be careful with the power of Lucindo on the feet. Try to not get stuck in bottom position. But if she works the knees inside the clinch, she works the body well. And maybe if she gets some takedowns of her own, this is winnable for Angela Hill. Is Angela Hill a 41, man? She's 40. God damn, man. Auntie still had it, man. Andre Philly is fighting my boy Christian Rodriguez. Zero. Very interesting fight because Philly, especially later in his career, a lot more of a wrestler, and that's the kind of guys that Rodriguez beat. But at the same time, we know that Zero kind of undersized for the featherweight division, and Philly is a big boy, man. The other thing is that Christian Rodriguez, it seems like he only beats like very young guys. But Andre Philly kind of old right now, but he's also like very like twink coded, so maybe he can win because Philly like maybe feels like a child, making Zero sound like a molester here, man. I'm sorry about that, man. Mike Jones is fighting Jan Matsumoto. It's like interesting fight, but I don't expect this. I don't expect this to like be super fun. To be honest, like both guys kind of lack process. I think Matsumoto keeps like a higher output and he's like not more athletic, but yeah, he keeps. It's the output. I'm siding with Matsumoto because of the output. Eric Anders is fighting Christian Leroy Duncan. Leroy Duncan head to head with Chara Bullet with for the price of the most boring, exciting fighter of all time because Christian Leroy Duncan is doing like sick shit all the time and his fight's still not super good. And Eric Anders, man, Eric Anders has been on so many of the worst fights of all time. He sometimes is good though. And we'll see. I'm completely expecting Eric Anders here to show up with a completely grappling based game plan, man. Julius Walker, my boy, because he follows me on Twitter, right? He's fighting Rafael Cerqueira. A very cool action fight at 205, to be honest. Like Walker had that banger in his debut against Alonso Manifield. And Cerqueira here, coming back after getting finished by Modestas Bukauskas. So yeah, Cerqueira hasn't been having like the most success in the UFC, but he goes for it. So maybe like Julius Walker gets like an impressive finish in his second UFC fight. You have Elijah Smith against Toshio Mikasama, action guaranteed at 135. Jocelyn Edwards is fighting Priscilla Cachoeira. I've been a Jocelyn Edwards hater, but she looked very good in her last fight. Like not super technical, but just like because she's a big athletic girl and she finally was like fighting nasty and using her athletic ability to hurt people. And Cachoeira. Yeah, I know we're all supposed to hate Cachoeira because she's like dirty as fuck, man. But she put some bangers, man. That last fight, man, against Josiane Nunez, that fucking ruled, man. So hopefully the trend continues here. Uros Medic is fighting Gilbert Urbina, and yeah, I feel like Uros Medic is going to like beat the shit out of him, man. Gabriela Fernandez is fighting Julia Stoliarenko. So Fernandez coming off two wins that have aged very well. She had a close fight where she won against Carly Judiz. That one was very close. And then she beat Wang Kong, right? So looking great for Gabriela Fernandez. Not a big fan. She's athletic. She's dangerous, but she's kind of a cheater too. But yeah, I'm expecting here to clear Stoliarenko here. And the opener is Cody Brundage against Eric McConico. Um, Not gonna complain about Brundage like everyone does. Like I don't hate Brundage, and I feel like he's solid. He's completely UFC level. I'm not familiar with McConico. He's an MMA lab guy, and he lost his debut against Rusy Boyev. I don't remember that, but that's not a good look. So maybe Brundash can get another win and keep his like UFC being in the UFC streak alive, right? So yeah, guys, that's the podcast. A short one. As I said, I'm pretty busy. Um, remember to head over to the store, man. People don't work in MMA. Be like Carlos Vera here. Um, it's fight week. Get hyped, and the body punching crew for all the fans of the body punching crew. You can get your regular T-shirt with the big stamp, or you can get the new one with the more subtle stitch that you can use in day to day life. And people will be wondering what the fuck you're wearing, but you don't have like a huge lever on your T-shirt. Even though I think it's very cool. But yeah, head over to there. I'll be releasing a video about I think Fluffy and Zero talking about like some new trends in wrestling in MMA that's coming out this week. And I'm coming back with the full preview and all of that next week. I'll see you guys Saturday on Fight Companion. Thank you so much for your support as always, guys. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.